Hey guys, welcome to another Stitch Corner. Today I've got a comparison video between the Elgato Game Capture HD and the Avermedia Game Capture HD. I'll be going through games like Resident Evil 6 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive on the Xbox 360 to show off these comparisons. Also, I'll be going into a little bit of detail about the Elgato Game Capture HD's software, but unfortunately the Avermedia doesn't come with any software, so I won't be showing anything for that. So let's get started. First up, we have the Resident Evil 6 capture with the Avermedia Game Capture HD. This was captured in 1080i over component cables at a bitrate of 15 megabits per second, which is the maximum that it can go. The capture came out a little grainy with a little bit of color loss, but overall the picture really does look good. The unfortunate thing about the Avermedia is that you do have to play over component, and even on screen, you know, especially for me, the picture looks a lot blurrier when I'm playing on the TV, and especially when you spoil it with HDMI for so long. Going back to components, it's a little hard to do, especially when you love having a nice crisp picture. But you know, it still does an impeccable job. It's a really great capture device, especially that you don't need a PC to capture. You can pretty much take it everywhere with you. It's just the component cables that really did it in for me. I needed something new. And here's a recording with the Elgato Game Capture HD. All I can say about this is wow. This truly is a remarkable capture device. The picture it produces with the recordings is immaculate. The color's perfect. There's no grain, there's no blur. It really is amazing. It records at 1080p at a maximum of 30 megabits per second over HDMI. So that means you're playing in HDMI, which means you get the perfect picture on your TV while you're playing, which is the biggest downfall with the Avermedia, is that it has to be played through component. Another thing is that while you're recording, you can be playing at 1080p on your TV, and you can set this device so it records at 480p or 720p or 1080p while you're recording. So you can play at 1080p but record at a different resolution, which is something that the Avermedia does not do. You either set your resolution to 1080i or 1080p, and it records at whatever you set your Xbox to. Now, this is a bit more expensive device at $220 on eBay compared to the Avermedia, which is $170. But this Elgato, it is HDMI, doesn't require you to have it hooked up to a power socket, but it does need a computer, and a fairly decent one at that. Nothing too overpowering, but at least something that is half decent. And this really is a remarkable device. Now I'll do a side-by-side comparison with Counter-Strike. So here I've recorded Counter-Strike Global Offensive on the Office map to do a bit of a side-by-side to show directly the differences. Now the Avermedia clearly on the left and the Elgato on the right. Basically, the Avermedia was filmed in 1080i at 15 megabits per second, while the Elgato was filmed at 1080p at 30 megabits per second. Now obviously you're going to say that 1080i at 15 megabits is a lot worse than 1080p at 30 megabits. Well, that is obvious, but I'm showing exactly what these two devices can do at their maximum side by side. And the Elgato on the right clearly is the winner. It's a little bit brighter, but everything just comes up more sharp, more clear. The colors are better, the textures look better, there's no blur, no grain. It is a 100% outstanding device, and I highly recommend it to anyone who wishes to purchase one. So I hope this video has helped anyone who wants to get into game capturing. That there are quite a lot of the devices out there. I do have other videos on the Avermedia versus the Roxio and the Avermedia versus the Hauppauge, but the Elgato is by far, from what I used, hands down the best capture device on the market, especially for the price. I hope this helps anyone, and thank you very much for watching this comparison.